ورحمة الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله خير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Inshallah, this will be the last lecture until after Ramadan. So perhaps maybe next Tuesday will be Taraweeh night. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the opportunity to witness Ramadan. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to worship Him the way He's pleased during Ramadan. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept us after Ramadan. Tonight inshallah we'll finish this section of the book, and that is الشروط في النكاح. الشروط في النكاح. We already started this and we said this is different than شروط النكاح. This is different. Conditions in nikah are different than the conditions of a nikah. And we said there are two major differences between شروط النكاح and شروط في النكاح. We said one of them شروط النكاح يعني الشروط التي لا ينعقد صحة العقد إلا من خلالها. شروط النكاح, the conditions of marriage, of النكاح, of العقد. These conditions have to be met for the contract to be valid. And we said شروط النكاح كالإيجاب والقبول والمهر والولي and all these things. So these are the conditions of nikah. شروط في النكاح, شروط في النكاح هي الشروط has nothing to do with صحة العقد. Okay, it can affect the عقد, but their existence do not, or the عقد to be valid, do not depend on those conditions. And we also said another difference between the two types of shurut. We said شروط النكاح, the conditions of النكاح are شرعية ربانية, يعني are conditions set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Conditions set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the shurut في النكاح are humane conditions, يعني the husband or the one who's getting married, the woman who's getting married, her wali, they are the ones who put these conditions. Okay, so that these are two major differences between these shurut. And we also talked about shurut al-sahiha, and we said the sound conditions في النكاح are the conditions mainly, and the bottom line, that do not go against the sharia, do not go against the kitab or the Quran and the Sunnah. And we said shurut al-fasida, or invalid conditions in nikah, are very much the conditions that go against the sharia, go against the Quran and the Sunnah, or go against the intent behind al-aqd, the intent behind marriage contract. So one of the intent is istimta', for example. One of the intent of marriage is to enjoy your spouse. Then a condition such as the woman will say, I'll marry you, but with a condition that you don't sleep with me. This condition goes against the intent the Shari' wants from the marriage. So such condition is invalid and doesn't have to be fulfilled. Alright? So these are very much what we have spoken about last time. And we also spoke about some kind of practices that are forbidden, and I think the last thing we spoke about was zawaj al-mut'ah. Zawaj al-mut'ah, and we said Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah in agreement that such marriage is haram. Such marriage is haram. And we said zawaj al-mut'a, yani the definition very quickly is to marry a woman for a specific period of time. And once this time for certain ajr, for certain agreement or for an amount agreed on. And this period, once it takes place, once it's over, the marriage is over. The marriage is over. Such marriage is haram in Islam. And the only people who accept it these days, either Rawafid, Shia, or someone from Ahl Sunnah who's following his hawa, and his desires. With the agreement and the ijma' of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah that such marriage is haram. طيب. I collected some questions that might cross the mind before we continue with كلام الشيخ الإسلام ابن قدامة رحمه الله. هل يدخل في حكم المتعة ما لو تزوجها بشرط أن يطلقها بعد سنة أو بعد 6 أشهر؟ يعني someone proposes to a woman and they agree between them, I'll divorce you after a year, or I'll divorce you after 6 months. We get divorced after 6 months or a year. يعني جماهير أهل العلم, the majority of the ulama, that such condition is invalid, fasid. And such contract is fasid. So everything is fasid. The contract and the conditions are invalid, and such marriage is zina. Except al-Hanafiyya, they said the condition is fasid, but the contract is fit. Okay? He said the condition of the marriage, this condition that we get divorced after 6 months, is fasid. Fasid يعني is not to be considered. Yani even though they agreed on, doesn't have to be fulfilled. But the contract itself is sound and fit. But Allahu A'lam, the right opinion is the Jamahir, the majority, that both things are invalid, because it's very much, it's so close to nikah al-mut'ah. Nikah al-mut'ah. What's the difference between 2 days and 6 months? Okay? So, Allahu A'lam. طيب, someone will say, if they both agree that no mahr, okay? Someone proposes to a woman, and you hear it a lot when some brothers and sisters who want to get married, and they approach you to do the contract for them, and you ask, okay, what's the mahr? They said, oh, she doesn't want anything, or $1, or 50 cents. Okay? It's very important to understand that al-mahr is a condition for the validity of the contract. Okay? You have to have a mahr. Even if she says, I don't want it. That's the arjah. Even if she says she doesn't want it, you still have to offer a mahr to fulfill this condition. And some of the ulama said this agreement is fine, but once they find out, even after the marriage, he has to give her a mahr. What they call متأخر, postponed mahr. So it's very important to understand this issue. So في رواية الحنفية الإمام أحمد العقد صحيح والشرط باطل. Imam Ahmed and Lahnaf, they said the contract is valid, but the condition is not. That means this condition doesn't mean anything. They still have to give some mahr. And Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said both are invalid, aqd and shart. He said because one of the conditions of a valid marriage contract is mahr. And now the woman, even if the woman said, I don't want mahr, this mahr is something that Allah had given her. So this is something, and to be a condition of the contract is something else. Okay? Wallahu a'lam. لو المرأة اشترطت على زوجها أنه إذا أراد أن يعدد عليها يطلقها، هل هذا الشرط صحيح؟ امرأة, you went to propose to a woman and she said, I'll marry you with the condition that if you marry another woman or take a second wife, you divorce. Is such condition valid? But doesn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say to the man in the Quran, if you like, you can have 2 or 3 or 2? Right. But if you like. So the fact that فإن طاب لكم مثنى ثلاثة ورباع. So the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you like Nisa, He did not obligate you to have more than one wife. Okay? That means this person, this condition is not the Quran or this. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إن أحق الشروط أن توفوها ما استحللتم به الفروج. That the most serious conditions that you should fulfill are the ones that resulted in a marriage. Yani the conditions that a woman puts or a man puts, and in this hadith a woman puts, so a person can marry him. And this is a serious condition. And the Prophet ﷺ said, any condition, أي شرط ليس في كتاب الله أو سنة رسوله فهو باطل ولو كان 100 شرط. And the Prophet ﷺ said, any condition that is not in the book of Allah or the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then it's invalid. طيب, this condition, can you find it in the Quran or in the sunnah? Can you find that the Prophet ﷺ approved a woman to put such condition, or you find in the Quran an ayah says a woman can say to her husband or to the man who wants to marry her, you marry me, if you marry a second wife you're divorced, or you divorce me? No. So how is it valid now if the hadith says any condition not in the book of Allah or the sunnah is batil? Right? يعني the understanding of the hadith is what makes the difference. So the group that understood the hadith, that if you want to put a condition in the marriage or any condition in any contract, it has to be in the Quran or the Sunnah. So those who understand this hadith in this way, then they will say this condition that you divorce, the man will divorce his wife if he marries a second wife, becomes invalid condition. But we said the right understanding of the hadith, any condition that is against the Quran and the Sunnah. Any condition that is against the Quran and the Sunnah then becomes invalid. And obviously such condition, as we said, is not against the Quran or the Sunnah. Okay?
You gave an example last time about the Arabi who went to Sayyidina Umar.
Yeah.
That example was not mentioned.
Yes, and this is one of the dalils that they use, that the Arabi came to complain, or a woman whose husband, Bedouin, wanted to move, and she put a condition before they got married that we stay where we are. So now he wanted to move. She said the condition. So he said, he complained, so she said we go to Umar, the Khalifa radiyallahu anhu. And when they went to him radiyallahu anhu, he said, this is a condition you put on yourself. And when you put a condition on yourself, might lead you to lose some of your rights. And that is the reality. His right is for his wife to follow him wherever he goes, because his obedience over his wife is mandatory. But once he put that condition, he waived such right to follow him wherever he goes. So it's very important to understand. So the understanding of the hadith, any condition that goes against the Quran and the Sunnah is invalid. Such condition about the woman he needs to divorce her if he marries a second wife is valid because it doesn't go against any nas or any Quran or any hadith. طيب, if he marries a second wife, two questions. Does he have to divorce her?
No.
For her to leave? And second, is it once he marries a second wife, the contract, since the condition is broken, the contract breaks as well?
Yes.
Contract invalid.
Huh?
Invalid contract.
تبيكم تطلقوا الناس. You guys want to just divorce everyone. Alright. This condition, if he marries a second wife, the divorce does not take effect right away. Still her right. Okay? She might be in a different state now. Maybe she's convinced now. Maybe she has 10 kids. Who's going to take care of those? Maybe if I'm going to be divorced 60 years old, alright? So it's up to her. This condition was hers. She either can put it into action or she can activate it or deactivate it. So she has the right to practice her right. She's entitled to that. So she says, you know what? We agreed that you don't take a second wife, and now you took a second wife. Well, I got nothing else to do. Who's gonna marry me now? I'll stay. That is fine. Or she said, we agreed, you did not fulfill. You know what? I'm out. Divorce me. He said, I'm not going to divorce you. So what does she do now? The marriage is null. Fasad al-aql. If she says, I want out, he says, I'm not going to divorce you, she picks up and leaves. That's it. The marriage is null. Fasad al-aql. But the effect of the divorce is not connected with him getting married right away, because she might choose not to practice the right. Okay. طب إذا أسلم الرجل وهو متزوج بأمة وهو ممن لا يجوز له ذلك فهل له أن يعتقها ويبقيها على نكاحها أم لابد من نكاح جديد؟ A man who's married to a slave woman, that's when it existed. This is just example. Married to a slave woman, and we said you have to meet certain conditions. If you're a free man, you have to meet certain conditions to be able to marry a slave woman. This person was not Muslim and he married a slave woman, then he became Muslim, and his situation does not qualify him to marry a slave woman. Can he divorce her, or can he free her, or do they continue in the marriage? What happens?
It's invalid.
Right. Now, this marriage, since he's not qualified, is invalid. Can he free her and marry her? Yeah? This needs a little thinking.
It was before the Islam, right?
If he can't free her, that means he could afford marrying somebody else.
Yeah, he chose to free her and marry her. He likes her.
The marriage contract of apostate is not accepted.
Huh?
The marriage contract between an apostate, if he was a Muslim,
Okay, we already said that.
دخوله في الإسلام ينفي ما قبل.
طيب.
So you're going to have to count from the day he entered Islam. And according to this.
We're saying, the question is, now we said that the marriage is invalid. Because if the conditions are not met to be able to marry a slave woman, are not met, the marriage is invalid. Now the question is, can he free her and marry her?
No, he can't. He's not a Muslim.
He can't free her because she's not his. Because if she was his, why he needs to marry her? She wasn't his to marry her and to be able to free her. He can buy her and free her. But when he marry, you don't marry your own slave. Got it? Why do you need to do that? If you have slave, you don't marry them. You can enjoy them without marriage. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. So the fact that he was married to a slave, it belonged to someone else. So that he doesn't have the power to free her. Alright? That is where some of the confusion. Alright. Right. Now we continue with the book. Nikah al-Shighar. This Nikah al-Shighar is a type of marriage that is invalid and haram. And Nikah al-Shighar يعني أن يزوج الرجل موليته على أن يزوجه موليته من غير صداق أو مهر. طيب. Give example. Someone who's the wali of his sister. Her father died, her grandfather died, he's the wali. So someone proposes to his sister. Someone who has a sister as well, and he's her wali. Or he has a daughter. So he says, this brother who's the wali, he says, that's fine, I marry you my sister, with the condition you marry me yours, your sister or your daughter, whatever it is, that he's wali of, without mahr. يعني this exchange, يعني my sister, you marry her, and her mahr is your daughter, I marry her. Alright? Such marriage is invalid. Such marriage is haram. First, it's unfair to one of the women, or actually both. Okay? Because she might be now forced to marry someone she doesn't like, or she doesn't want, or she's not interested in. Second, there is interest for the wali. Okay? There is interest for the wali. And the rule is clear. The rule is clear. If you are in charge of something, then always you have to look for the best benefit of this thing you're in charge of. So if you're wali of your sister or your daughter, then the number one priority is the interest of this person you're wali of, not yours. So once you say, I marry her, to you, you marry your daughter, you have put your interest before. And that is against shar. Okay? Third, you cannot make a person as mahr. Alright? You cannot make a person as mahr. And all these, the hadith of Ibn Umar in Bukhari and Muslim, نهى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الشغار وقال أن ينكح الرجل موليته إلى الرجل الآخر على أن يزوجه الآخر موليته وليس بينهما صداق. Now this definition, is it the Prophet ﷺ said it? Was it Ibn Umar who said it? Was it Nafi' who said it? Was it Malik? All these people narrates the hadith in chain. And this is Silsila al-Dhahabiyya. Silsila al-Dhahabiyya. Malik عن نافع عن ابن عمر. This sanad يعني gold. This sanad is like gold. You see Malik عن نافع عن ابن عمر. This is gold. Okay? يعني some of the most authentic. So who said that? The Prophet ﷺ, bin Umar says, the Prophet ﷺ forbid the marriage of shighar. Then there's a statement, وقال, and he said, shighar is you marry your muwalliya, yani your daughter or your sister, the one you're in charge of, with the condition that the person who's going to marry her, marry you his daughter or his sister or the one he's in charge of, without mahr. So Shafi'i rahimahullah said, who gave this definition of shighar is Nafi'. Okay? Nafi' Mawla ibn Umar. So it's not really the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, that part, but the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, or the part about the Prophet ﷺ, is Naha Nabi ﷺ an shighar. That's it. The Prophet ﷺ forbade shigar. Then the definition of shigar comes from Nafi'. Some said from Ibn Umar, some said from Malik, and this is what the ulama al-hadith call mudraj. Al-mudraj, يعني when a statement is inserted into the hadith that is said by other than the Prophet ﷺ. Either the Sahabi or the Tabi'i or Rawi puts, and mudraj can be in the beginning of the hadith, can be in the middle of the hadith, and it can be at the end of the hadith. So this is one type of shigar. They exchange women in marriage without mahar. طيب. And this is, the ulama agree that such marriage is invalid. The second type of shigar is they exchange women in marriage with mahar. With mahar. Is this valid or not? Jumhur al-ulama, Jumhur Ahl al-ilm, the majority said it's valid. And their dalil is the hadith we mentioned, the hadith of Ibn Umar, that the hadith says, al-mudraj, that the addition of the hadith says, bidun mahr, or bidun sadaq, without mahr. So they said, so the reason this marriage is haram is because there is no mahr. So they're saying, if there is mahr, that means the marriage is fine. Yeah? So that is the understanding of the majority of al-ulama. The majority said, if there is mahr, it's valid. Okay? The other opinion came to say, no. The reason that such marriage is invalid, it's not because there is mahr or there is no mahr. The reason is because there is exchange. You put a condition here in the marriage that I marry you my daughter, you marry me yours. So they said the reason this contract is invalid is because of this, not because of the mahr. So whether the mahr exists or it doesn't exist does not affect this contract, and this is the opinion of Imam Ahmed and Shaykh al-Islam, or Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. They said the reason it's invalid because there is the exchange. And they're saying, and the exchange first, you're putting a human being to be in place of mahr. And here they say, okay, there is mahr. Then you're marrying a woman, someone she might not want. She's forced to marry him because it's part of a deal. Okay? And that is not fair. And also, some of their supporting dalils, there is another hadith for the Prophet ﷺ without the mentioning of al-mahr. So if the hadith does not mention mahr, then it's general. And al-qa'idah says, ترك الاستفصال في مقام الاحتمال ينزل منزلة العموم في المقال. يعني, if the Prophet ﷺ would say something, and at that moment it requires details, okay? If it requires details and the Prophet ﷺ does not give any more details, that indicates to leave it as general as the way it is. So for example, if the Prophet ﷺ said in this shirar, he said, you want to marry his daughter, he has to marry yours. And that's the end of the hadith. So they're saying, if the mahr was important, or it was the reason for the invalidity of the hadith, of the marriage, then the Prophet ﷺ should have said it. But the fact that he did not say it at that moment indicates that it's general. We leave it as it is. Meaning that any marriage of exchange like that, whether there's mahr or not, is invalid. Alright? Because the Prophet ﷺ did not details at the time that it necessitates. Okay? So if mahr was the reason or the illah for the invalidity of the marriage, then it should have been mentioned at that moment. He should have not left it like that. But the fact that he did not mention it then indicates that it's not. It does not affect. What really invalidates the contract is the exchange. That I marry you my daughter if you marry me yours.
If she
All right?
doesn't like it,
السلام. نعم.
يعني if she doesn't like it, between us,
السلام.
it's not forced.
Yeah, ما هو this is can be, of course, that's when.
If it's not forced, يعني
لا, if he's saying, if he said, someone comes and tells, oh yeah, I want to marry your daughter. You said, that's fine. I'm interested in marrying yours.
Yeah, let me ask.
All right.
Or something like that.
Halas. If they agree and the women agree and he does not put it as condition, that is fine.
If he's not forced.
Someone marries his cousin and her brother marries his sister, that is fine. But what we're talking about is first to put it as a condition. Yeah, I will agree to marry you my daughter as long as you agree to marry me yours. Halas. Because the second woman might be forced into this. Okay? القاعدة التصرف بالرعية منوط بالمصلحة. التصرف بالرعية منوط بالمصلحة. إيه يعني if you are in charge of someone, then you have to put first their benefit, their interest before yours. Their interest comes before yours. So if you're in charge of your daughter, you're her wali, you're her wali, and then someone proposes and you say, all right, I'll marry you my daughter if you marry me yours. So here you have put your interest into this equation. And most probably, if he says no, you will not marry your daughter. يعني you put in your interest even over your daughter's interest. So if you're going to keep doing that, most probably your daughter will never get married if they don't agree, if they know it's haram. Alright? So it's very important to understand these qawaid. Alright. So the bottom line is whether الشغار has mahr or doesn't have mahr, الأرجح والأصح الله أعلم, is that the illah and the reason for the invalidity of such contract is really the exchange, not the mahr. Alright? Okay. نكاح المسيار نكاح المسيار يعني رجل يأتي امرأته ويسير عليها. نكاح المسيار is a marriage where it fulfills all the conditions of marriage. كل الشروط. There is mahr, there is ijab, there is qubul, there is wali. All these conditions are met. Not like nikah al-mut'ah. That's first thing, because some people will look at misyar, they say that's nikah mut'ah. It's not, because nikah al-mut'ah, first there is agreement for a specific period of time. Nikah al-misyar doesn't have this. And nikah al-mut'ah, once the time is up, the marriage is up. There is no time in misyar. And we will see and we will explain. And third, another difference just to add, is nikah al-mut'ah لا يوجب إرث. يعني if you marry someone mut'ah, according to their fiqh, if you marry someone mut'ah for a day and you die during that day, she does not inherit. She does not inherit. So obviously all this mut'ah thing is nothing but zina. Okay? Nothing but zina. So let's not be confused between this and this, because you find the rawafid attacking Ahl Sunnah. They said, we have mut'ah, you have misyar. And البون شاسع. The difference is so big between those two. So nikah al-misyar is nikah shar'i, meets all the conditions of valid marriage. But the difference, nikah al-misyar, the woman waives. The woman waives her rights in nafaqah. The woman waives her right in nafaqah. يعني a woman will say, you don't have to spend on me. You don't have to pay for my place. You don't have to pay for my clothes, for my maskan, for my malbas, for my mat'am, ma'kal, mashrab. You don't have to sleep in my house. All these are women's rights. So she waives them, for example. Okay? That is the difference. Okay? That is the definition of zawaj or nikah al-misyar. So a woman waives her rights toward her husband. Okay? Now, what did the ulama say about such marriage? ذهب جمهور الفقهاء من الحنابلة والشافعية والمالكية والحنفية إن المرأة إذا اشترط أو أن المرأة إذا اشترط عليها زوجها أو أن رضيت بأن أسقطت حقها من النفق والبيتوتة أو السكنة فإنه شرط باطل ويصح العقد. The majority of أهل العلم said that if a woman says so, يعني you can marry me but these are my conditions. Now someone will think these conditions can come from the man and they can come from the woman. Okay? Now we don't deny a woman has desires as well as the man. She has needs. But sometimes maybe her lifestyle does not allow her to take care of her husband. And her husband died, she has kids, she has a job, she needs to take care of everything. She doesn't have the capability to have a husband to take care of. But she has desire she needs to fulfill, for example. So someone will propose to her, she said, these are my conditions. I don't want to be responsible toward you because I don't think I can fulfill your needs. So you marry me, we're husband, wife, everything, but I waive my rights. You don't have to spend on me, you don't have to take care of me, for example. And it can be on the other side, the other token as well. So the ulama said, such condition is invalid. Why? Because they said the intent behind al-aqd, the intent behind aqd al-zawaj or aqd al-nikah, the intent behind such contract of marriage, just marriage in general, the intent is sukna, nafaqa, baytuta, to take care of the woman, to spend on the woman, to sleep in her house or with her in the house, to sleep in the same place. They said these are the intent of the contract. So no one has the right to waive those intents. And we said the condition to be valid, it should not go against the intent of the contract. Against qasd al-aqd. Alright? So that's why the ulama said, this marriage is fit, is valid, because it meets all the conditions, but such condition is invalid. Alright? And these are their reasoning. And some said al-shart batil wal-aqd batil. Some of them said such condition really invalidates the contract itself. So they said the condition is batil, is invalid, and the contract itself is invalid. The third opinion said la. They said al-shart sahih wal-aqd sahih. They said the condition is right and the aqd is right and sound as well. Why? So obviously the difference they have. So they're saying obviously the difference or the issue, the difference between those who said both are right, al-aqd wa shart, and those who said only al-aqd is valid, shart batil, biqasd al-aqd. They said no. These things are not the intent behind marriage. Sukna wal baytuta. They said the intent behind the marriage is al-rahmah, mawadda, istimta'. So if those things are met in such marriage, they can enjoy each other. He can show mercy to her. They can have ra'fa and rahmah. So the contract is valid and the condition is valid. So now the difference is with the intent or maqsad or qasd al-aqd. Okay? في الصحيحين the Prophet ﷺ Sauda al-Mu'minin radiyallahu anha waived her day or her night for Aisha. Okay? One of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ was old. So she said, Ya Rasulullah, يعني you keep me your wife and I waive or I give my night to Aisha. And the Prophet ﷺ approved. So they said, here is a dalil that since the woman waived her right or her night, the marriage and the condition are fit. لو أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عارض لكان الشرط باطل. But the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم approved. يعني this شرط صحيح and sound. Clear? So that is the opinion of the third group. And such نكاح المسيار سميه الفقهاء زواج النهاريات زواج الليليات يعني المسميات كثيرة. قال أحمد رحمه الله ليس هذا من نكاح الإسلام. Imam Ahmad رحمه الله said such nikah is not from Islam. Such nikah because the intent or قصد العقد السكن والسكينة هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن. So with such marriage it does not fulfill such intent. And these are the opinions of Ahl al-Ilm. But we need to understand some points with this marriage. Allahu A'lam, such contract and such marriage is valid and the condition is valid. But we need to understand few points about this marriage. Because some people say, that's a great deal. Let's just get married. لا مسؤولية, no responsibility, nothing. Just get married, I stop by whenever. Alright? La. We have to understand certain points about such marriage. First, it's very important to understand that such marriage cannot be the default. It cannot be the norm. This marriage يعني لا يكون الأصل. Cannot say, alright, so it's permissible, مسموح, جائز, halal, and maybe some people say واجب, let's do it. لا. You have to understand the marriage that is the norm and the default and the way it should be is when they both live together, when the man is responsible about his duties. Alright? That is one thing. Second thing, يعني just to elaborate on the first point, it should not be the default. يعني also it needs to be understood that such marriage can be a solution. And that's where they call siyasa shari'i. Can be a solution for a problem in the society, as the example I gave. Okay? So it has to be taken and looked at as a solution for a problem, not the default and the norm and al-asl itself. Also, it should be understood that there is no agreement between the husband and the wife, whether it's direct or hinting that they will end the marriage. يعني, man comes to a woman, I want to marry you. She said, that's fine, but these are my conditions, the conditions we said. He said, fine. And she said, and يعني, we stay married for a year or two. Okay? هذا غير جائز. It's not. Then it takes us to يعني, we start going around المتعة again. طيب? Very important. So there should be no agreement on the date to end the marriage. Okay? Another issue that needs to be considered in such marriage, and that is زواج المسيار, قوامة للرجل. قوامة للرجل. Yes, we agreed, but I still have the قوامة over you. I still have the preference and the step over you, the degree over you. So it's not, oh, you know what? You're not paying for my clothes, you're not paying for my food, you're not paying for my rent. I'll do whatever I want. لا. For her to be able to think, well, he's not paying for it. And that is what leads to this. You see, in any marriage in general, even the normal marriage, if the husband steps back from his qawama, يعني Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes one part of the qawama is that the man spends on the woman. So when the husband gives up that right, and the woman starts spending on him, she starts being in a position to think that she can do whatever she wants. And obviously this is a problem. Problem. So if this woman thinks you don't have to pay for anything, that does not make you lose your qawama. You're still responsible about her. You're still in charge of her. You still have to be asked about her actions. Okay? And that is يعني some of the brothers هداهم الله who marries من اليهود والنصارى. يعني he marries a Christian or a Jew. He said she's Christian or Jew. So she goes and she does everything haram and everything Christian or a Jew does against the Sharia, and he said she's Christian. That is wrong. هذا غير جائز. That is not the way. You're the husband, you have the qawama, she needs to listen to you. Even the ulama said له الحق يمنعها من الذهاب إلى الكنيسة المعابد. On the other hand, you find in the house خنزير والخمر وشجرة الكريسماس. يعني أنت المرأة وهي الرجل. Who's the man here? Okay, so these are the things that we talk about when the brother wants to marry a Christian or a Jew. Brother, Allah says هن حل لكم. طيب, you are permitted to marry a Christian or a Jewish woman, but do you understand of all the consequences? Do you have the condition, العفة, that she has to be afifa for you to be able to marry her? They forget about that. And most probably he has يعني العلاقة بينه وبينها علاقة زنا. بعدين I want to marry her, I love her. حبك برص. شو love her. أنت عندك علاقة. You have a relationship, zina, with her. She's not afifa. And that is the condition. Whether she's Muslim or she's not Muslim, it has to be chaste woman. يعني you tell me which woman إلا من رحم ربك, which woman here in this country that you go to her, you see her in the street, يا بنت الحلال, I like you, can I marry you? She يعني slap you on your face. She won't do that. You have to have a relationship with her. You have to live. She has to try you, just like when you buy a car. That's the bottom line. Where can you find a woman like that? Where you can find a chaste Christian woman or a chaste Jewish woman? وَلَا مُتَّخِذَاتِ أَخْدَانٍ. Where can you find a chaste one like that? Maybe you find it somewhere else in the world. Well, they still يعني abide by the laws of their books. But here, where can you find that? So it's very important to understand. Then you marry her, you prove to yourself, you convince yourself she's afifa and she's honorable and she comes from good family. You marry her, and then you say she's Christian, let her do whatever she wants. It's okay in Christianity. La, it doesn't work like that. Okay, so it's very important to understand that. So القوامة للرجل للزوج. Even with زواج المسيار, القوامة stays with the man. Don't forget about that. Okay, you still have the upper hand, and you still have the right that she obey you. Okay, that she obeys you. Now, the other thing, if when you got married she said, I don't want you to pay for my rent, I don't want you to pay for the house, I don't want you to pay for my clothes, I don't want you to pay for my food. All right, that's fine. You waive all that? Yes. What a great deal. So you marry her. لها الحق أن ترجع عن شرطها في أي وقت شاءت. She has the right to change her mind any minute she wants. So don't marry a woman and with these conditions, and then a year later she tells you, no, I can't do it. I want you to live with me. You said, no, we agreed from the beginning. She has the right to change her mind. All right? Clear? طيب. The last type of nikah, كما قال ابن قدامة رحمه الله, نكاح المحلل والمحلل له. And this kind of nikah takes place when a person divorces his wife 3 times. And you all know, when a Muslim man divorces his wife 3 times, he cannot take her back. Okay? First divorce, she stays in his house, and then during her iddah, if she likes to stay with him, if he likes to keep her, يعني, he makes a couple of movements or moves, she's back. Well, as long as it's still within the iddah. Second divorce, she stays in her husband's house, the same thing. If he wants to take her back any minute within the iddah, he can. Third divorce, it's done. Okay? She has iddah outside his house, or he leaves the house. Whatever the agreement is, whatever whose house it is. Alright? But once a man divorces his wife 3 times, that's it. He cannot marry her again unless... Ya salam alayk. Unless she marries someone else and he divorces her. But yes, but there is no agreement and there is no makr, khida'. طيب. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam لعن المحلل والمحلل له والمحلل له. There are 2 parts or 2 people involved in this la'an. The ex-husband and the new husband. That's why in the hadith there is no mentioning of the wife, of the woman. That's why the ulama now have different opinions if the agreement comes from the woman's side. Right. Someone يعني, let's say Ahmed divorced his wife 1, 2, 3. He divorced her, took her back, divorced her, took her back, divorced her. He cannot marry her again. But they have kids. So Ahmed regrets. ندمان يعني. نادم على ما فعل. They have kids, the kids gonna get lost, all this. The same thing with the wife. And this is, people don't think about that until it takes place. زي ما بيقول لما يوقع الفاس بالراس, then he starts crying and she starts crying. When it takes place, then they start crying. طيب. يعني some people يعني ما عنده ورع. يعني he divorced his wife 1,000 times, 2,000 times, ولا يهتم. يعني القصة نذكرها دائما لما اتصل فيها أحد الإخوة، يعني والد قال زوجتي بنتي طلقها زوجها، قلت له كم مرة؟ قال ما أكثر من 100 مرة. قلت له طيب. بدأت أسأل أسئلة حتى يعني أجد مخرج على منهج ابن عباس رضي الله عنه. ما لقيت 100. من وين بدك تلاقي لهم مخارج هذول؟ قلت له هذه ما يجوز، ما يجوز ترجع. فبعد نقاش طويل في النهاية أخينا بيقول طب مشيها يا شيخ. مشيها. قال له مشيها. فيعني بعض الناس ما عندهم ورع. Some people don't have ورع. He divorces right and left. This time let it go, this time. Who am I? I'm يعني giving you سكوك الغفران. I can't do that. And some people do. These days you have 1-800 fatwa. You call, they give you fatwa. ماشي. Okay? So it's very important to understand that. So Ahmed has a friend, Ibrahim. Ibrahim sees Ahmed and his wife miserable, his ex-wife. They cannot get back together. The kid's gonna be lost. So he says in his head, I'm gonna marry her and يعني I'll stay with her for a few days, then I'll divorce her. طيب? So Ibrahim goes, he marries this sister with this plan in his head. Few days pass, he sleeps with her, whatever that, he has to consummate يعني the marriage, and then he divorces her with the intent to make her halal for his brother back. Ahmed now can marry his wife back, can take her back, with a new count. if Ahmed knew that Ibrahim married his wife with this intent, haram for him to marry his wife, to take her back. He cannot. Actually, this marriage is zina, and it's not marriage that Ibrahim did. That's one thing. Alright? And the Shari' says she has to marry someone else. So obviously she did not, because the marriage itself is zina. So if Ahmed knows that Ibrahim did that with that intention, even if Ahmed has nothing to do with it, Ahmed did not tell Ibrahim go marry her, Ahmed did not hint to Ibrahim, nothing, okay, he cannot marry her. And if he marries her and 10 years later he finds out that Ahmed did that with this intent, this marriage was not valid at any point. But of course he did not know, so there is no blame on him, and he has to separate. Got it? So Ibrahim muhallal. Muhallal lah Ahmed. He becomes muhallal lah in this hadith if they agree. Ahmed comes to Ibrahim, tells him, here's $1,000, marry her. 2 days later, divorce her so I can marry. Of course, this is haram, and this is zina, and this is la'na. طيب, what if the woman said to someone proposes to her, ها قدم لها رجل ما بيعرف القصة يعني ما له هو عاوز يتجوز, just he wants to marry a woman. So in her head she said, catch, I marry him, I drive him crazy, he divorces me, I go back to Ahmed. Okay? If this takes place, the ulama have said, since the woman was not mentioned in the hadith, okay, and Ahmed and she does that, and she drives him crazy, and he divorces her, and Ahmed marries her, there is no problem with such marriage, but هي تكون آثمة. She's sinful, but the marriage is valid and fit and sound, because she was not mentioned in the hadith. طيب, if a man رغب في نكاح امرأة من أجل التحليل, يعني تزوج امرأة ووطأها من أجل التحليل ثم رغب بها. A man marries a woman to do that, so he can divorce her and her original husband can marry her back. Then after he enjoyed her and he liked her, he married her, he stayed with her for a month, he liked her. What happens here? We say your first marriage was invalid. You were not actually married. Alright? Your first marriage is invalid. You leave her, okay? And then if you're interested, you can marry her again. Alright. بعض الفقهاء, some of العلماء said that if the woman, إذا كانت نية المرأة رجوع إلى زوجها, قالوا لا يجوز الزواج. يعني إذا تزوجت, if she marries a man with her intent to go back to her first husband, and then the second man divorces her, they said she's not allowed to go back, because that was her intent. But the majority of أهل العلم and فقهاء, they said yes, the intent of the woman, نية المرأة لا تؤثر على الزواج. Her intent does not count. هي آثمة, but her intent does not affect if her husband, the first one, can get back to her or not. نقل ذلك ابن عبد البر رحمه الله. And يعني دليلهم على هذا, جاءت امرأة إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حينما طلقها زوجها وتزوجت بعد عبد الرحمن بن زبير. A woman, her husband divorced her like this, رفاعة, and she came to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم and she married عبد الرحمن ibn Zubayr. And she mentioned her story to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم as if she showed interest in رفاعة, okay, in her first husband. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أتريدين أن ترجعي إلى رفاعة؟ لا حتى يذوق عسيلتك وتذوقي عسيلته. he said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you want to go back to Rifa'a? No, that's her first husband, until this Abdurrahman ibn Zubayr, until you sleep with him or he sleeps with you, يعني until you consummate the marriage. So obviously this is the Prophet ﷺ as if he felt her intent, as if he felt her interest in her first husband. So he told her that the marriage has to be consummated. Alright? So that's why the opinion of majority of Ahl al-Ilm and Ahl al-Amsar, the majority, that the intent of the woman and نية المرأة لا يؤثر على العقل. طيب؟ ماشي. So inshallah we stop here, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us our endeavors, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يعز الإسلام والمسلمين, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to fast the month of Ramadan and to please Him, and to be concerned about pleasing Him every second and every moment. And as we always say, this month is a month of ta'at, and the month of al-rahmah and maghfirah, al-'itq min al-nar, and this is a month that you should make the best effort to take advantage of every minute of it, and don't be lazy, don't be lazy. كما قيل إن لم يوفقك الله إلى طاعة كأن الله كره طاعتك، يعني أو إذا شعرت بالكسل عن طاعة الله فلعل الله كره طاعتك. هذه مصيبة. يعني if you feel that you're lazy to worship Allah, as if maybe Allah hated your worship to Him. So be aware of that, and be concerned, and make your best effort to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a month, and as you know, now we're counting the days, and maybe in a week or so we will the month will start inshallah, and it will be a blink of an eye, lamhat basar, and the month is over. The month is over. So it's very important, يعني, we plan and we make the best intent and the best effort to make the best out of this month. And if this month of Ramadan is the same as last month or last year, then يعني you haven't done a lot. ما فعلت شيء. So you make sure that you make it better than any month in the past, and you make your best intent and put the best energy and the best plan for this month. And there's nothing wrong to write down what you want to achieve during this month. How many times you want to read the Quran, how many times you want to finish, how many tarawih you want to pray, how many qiyam you want to make, how many days you want to fast. Can you fast more than 30? Can you fast more than 30 days in Ramadan? No?
ممكن تصوم الشوال
من يستطيع يصوم أكثر من 30 يوم في رمضان؟
24 hours يا شيخ. فيها
طيب حديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من أفطر صائما كان له مثل أجره. You give iftar for a fasting brother, you get his reward. With his reward does not decrease. So how many days can you fast? 60? Look, بخيل. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يعيننا على حوائجنا. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. صلى الله على محمد. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.